Hello, good afternoon, good evening to viewers who are tuning in and who would eventually tune in to this very special show. It's called Kindness is Legal. It's for a reason that this is the name of the show. This specific Insta Live show is about a very relevant topic, a very current topic about cruelty to animals and how it can be reported, prevented whenever there's a human animal conflict. And to take the show forward, we are going to have an extreme with the experts. Let me welcome Sandhu, who is a disabled member of the Animal Welfare Board of India. Just stay with me as I bring him live into the show. Just give me a moment. Okay, while he joins, thanks to everyone who has joined in. So this show, as I mentioned, has a simple agenda to it. It's all about addressing what it takes to tackle any menace that's been meted out to animals and what can be done within the Indian legal system. Hi, Inder, how are you?
Hi, pretty good. How are you guys?
I am good, thank you, Inder.
I apologize, there's been a little bit of connection issues at my end as well. So I apologize for that.
No problem. No problem. Can you just flip your camera if that's possible, please? Because you are coming horizontally on the screen. Okay. So I just set the context in there that this is specific to the cruelty to animals and how to deal with it as citizen, as observers, as good meaning human beings. What is it that we could do? So that's specifically the context we're going about.
Sure.
And as an introduction, let me just introduce you again. As an Animal Welfare Board of India member and the District Animal Welfare Officer in Mohali. Thank you so much for joining in that.
Not a problem, anytime.
Thank you. Just cutting to the chase in this. So firstly, what is the statute that can be used or applied by people when it comes to the scenario of cruelty to animals and prevention of the same?
Sure. So the easy answer is there's an act, 1960 PC Act, Prevention of Cruelty Act, that covers all animals. And it is a very extensive act. People usually diss it for how low the fine is, but it's one of the most well-written acts in the world. Stand by it. There are way too many animals in India. It covers wildlife, it covers domestic animals, it covers sacrifice of animals, it covers transport of animals, it covers things that are not even an issue in other countries. So it is very extensive. There are IPC, the Indian Penal Code punishes people who are cruel to animals under section 428 and 429. Those are the two sections which are usually applicable. There are some other sections which can apply, but these are the most common ones.
Sure, sure. And how different is it being a member of an animal welfare board vis-a-vis any citizen of India? Does it just, in terms of the rights that we have, is it similar to what a member has, or is there something that we can reach out to you that you only have powers to, but not an ordinary citizen?
So for the most part, it is a power every citizen have. Now, there are some additional powers that we have in terms of raiding dairies and slaughterhouses, animal birth control centers. So we just make sure that the government is doing what they're supposed to do. So that aspect, there are things that we can go and investigate. That is what you should use your AWBI officers for. But in terms of preventing cruelty, I have the same rights that you have, that any citizen of India has, including policemen.
Okay, okay. That's interesting. And that's empowering as a thought. Thanks for that. Makes us feel better already. Super. And the next question I'm going to ask is something that Aqua, Mika, Unica, Sniper. I'm just going to repeat this 1,000 times today just so that I get my tongue right. Yeah. So the question is something that we wanted to cover anyways, which is about reporting basis evidence, right? What kind of evidence works? What kind of evidence is sufficient for somebody to file a complaint in terms of cruelty?
That's a very important, very interesting, very important question. You win and you lose cases based on evidence. So people ask you, what can they do to help animals? The number one thing you can do is collect good evidence. There are three types of evidence that are presentable in court. There's one called hearsay. That basically means I heard somebody told me that this crime has occurred. You are not a witness of the crime. You have no direct evidence. You just heard something. Now, that is the lowest form of value in terms of evidence presented to court. It is very difficult to stick, but still valuable. Hearsay is valuable. The second is eyewitness account. So when you're an eyewitness, you can say, this is what I saw. This thing happened in front of me. I'm the eyewitness of it. And of course, the third is direct, which is video evidence or audio evidence, where you actually record something where you don't have to testify in court saying, this is what has happened. Now, all three of them, it's how we collect the evidence, how we report it, and we'll talk about reporting, I guess, later. But in terms of collecting evidence, you have to be equanimous and calm when you collect evidence. There are a lot of cases that I get when animal lovers tell me that this happened so quickly, I wasn't able to record. If you weren't able to record, you've got to be a very good observer. Of course, the best is always carry your cell phone with you. Put CCTV cameras everywhere. It is the invisible eye. It is the best. There are so many cases that we have won based on CCTV evidence, including the one that you just, when you and me were just talking about the puppy that was killed in Moga. The only reason why we won that case is because we had CCTV evidence. And so that is absolutely crucial. But in terms of collecting evidence, if you're an eyewitness account, you need to be calm and you need to observe everything around you. The most common times we're an eyewitness is to somebody hitting an animal. So what we have to be able to report is, who is the person hitting, where does he live, or some idea about who this person is. What they were wearing is surprisingly important, because if you don't have any CCTV footage of what he was, of this person actually committing the crime, but he's saying he's wearing a blue shirt. Tomorrow, if you get a CCTV footage of him anywhere or any other picture where somebody else took a picture at some time and he was wearing the blue shirt, your story is corroborated in front of the judge. So whatever you remember, if he hit him with a stone, where did the dog get hit? Did he get hit on the head? Did he get hit on the back? That is very important, because if a dog is, because most of their defense is that the dog was charging me and I hit the dog. Right? If a dog is charging you and you hit a stone, you'll probably hit the dog on the face or the chest. Now, if you're hitting a dog that strikes him on the back or his hind leg with a stone or with a stick, that means the dog was running away from you. Now, that is very crucial when we present it to court and we present a story as to this is what happened, because you're allowed to hit an animal in self-defense, but you cannot take revenge. You cannot, and the same is true for humans. If I come to your house with a knife, you have the right of killing me. That's self-defense.
Right.
But if I have a knife, I put the knife back in my pocket and I'm exiting your house, you shoot me in the back, that is revenge. That is not self-defense. The same is true for animals. It is very difficult. The onus is on the defendant to prove that he hit the animal in self-defense. All we have to do is give them evidence of this is where the animal was hurt. So if the animal's been hurt on the leg, you take him to a vet, a government vet, and you get a report saying this animal was hurt on the leg. That proves to the judge that he was actually running. He was away from the person when the animal was hit. So everything that you observe is important. What animal lovers typically tend to do is they start to get into a fight. And it becomes, they get so riled up that they completely forget what happened, how it happened, and they forget to record it mentally and put it down on paper. They forget to report it that way. And that's how our cases become weak. So collecting evidence, even if you're an eyewitness, if it was a rod or a stick that he used to hit the dog, which was it, a wooden stick? Was it an iron stick? That makes a difference. What color was the stick? If you can say that, that's great. What length was the stick is also good, because if it's a long stick, then you know that he could have hit a dog from a distance, right? And then how many times did he strike? Where did he hit him? So all that is extremely crucial. And of course, video evidence is the best. You don't need any eyewitness account. All you need is a camera. And what typically happens is people start getting into an argument when they're recording. What I would recommend is you pick up your camera and you start recording. There's only two ways that people in India will respond, right? If they're sensible people who are afraid of the law, they'll immediately calm down, stop hitting the animal, walk away. If they're Punjabi, actually, you should take that back. There are idiots everywhere, I guess. But sometimes they'll look at the camera and say, "Aap kar lo jo karna hai apne, main to marunga hi marunga." Then he is giving you evidence. That evidence is very interesting to the judge. When you're telling people that I don't care about the law, I will hit this dog, you need to record that. Whereas if you start getting into an argument and try to say anything, then he'll say, "Garma garmi mein maine bol diya ji." So instead of it being an argument, be very calm, be very cool and collected, record everything. Now, the other thing that happens is people try to snatch your phone. If they snatch your phone, do not take your phone back. For the love of God, don't take your phone back. You immediately use somebody else's phone and call 100, and you tell them that this person has stolen your phone. That is 6 months in jail right away. That is a bigger offense than hitting an animal is. If they strike you, it is 2 years in jail. It is even a bigger offense. So so
it's just getting compounded from there.
Yes. Yeah. So the evidence is collecting evidence and being calm is the key.
Super. Just to let the audience know, this is a show that's been initiated by Blackies BNB in association with Fidu's people, and this is a chat between myself, Arun from Bangalore, and Inder. People have just tuned in, and this is about animal cruelty and how to prevent it, right? And a nice segue from what you mentioned in terms of staying calm, Inder, is how do you write a complaint? Because I know of a lot of people, sure you do as well, like you rightly said, people get emotional at that point in time, and then that converts to maybe arguments there, or maybe too many adjectives and adverbs in a police complaint rather than the facts of the case being presented. So what are the cold things that need to be bare minimum things? Like you mentioned, these are evidence traits, but if I have to put it in writing, and I'm sure we need to involve police and they are the first port of call when it comes to dealing with this, or is there any other jurisdiction?
No, it is the police. So I'll answer it as you've asked it. The first thing is writing a report. Absolutely, the most important thing is how you write your report. A report is an incident report. It does not matter what you feel, what you think, what your emotions are, what the other person's emotions are. That report is what you're going to finally be testifying in court or to an animal welfare officer. And in a court of law, your feelings have no value. If you love animals, or you feed 50 animals, or I was so insulted, I was so ashamed, these people are so cruel, those are judgment calls that are not a part of the report. Yes, you can say this in court if you want to, but when you are writing a police complaint, it has to be what happened, when did it happen. So it's what, when, who, how. Simple. And how much if you want. So that is the way you report it. So what I will write is, say for instance, 7:03 in the morning on Saturday, I was walking down where person from sector 15, house number 122 came out. There was a dog sitting there, brown in color, female, right? Approximately a year old if you can. If not, that's fine. And the dog was walking away, and this person picked up a stick, which was, at 7:05, he picks up a stick, he comes back out. At 7:07, he hits the dog twice on the hind leg. At 7:10, I pick up the dog and take it to the vet. At 7:45, the vet gives me a report which says this dog has been hurt, right? This is in violation of section 428, section 11A of the IPC. Please prosecute the matter, or please investigate the matter. End of story. His name, his address, your name, your address, and your phone numbers. That is all that needs. It's an incident report of what happened blow by blow. And it is best done if you write the time on one side, like 6:15 p.m. this happened, and what happened. 6:18 p.m. what happened, then write one paragraph. If you write it like that, your report should never be more than 1 page long. Indira Gandhi got killed. I can write that report in 1 page. What happened, you just have to go blow by blow as to what happened. I can explain the World War II in 1 page as to why it happened and what happened. So your report has to be concise. If you write 10 pages and how you feel, what he said, you're so ashamed, all that has no value at all.
So you mentioned, you said we need to mention the section. Is that mandatory, or is that something
not mandatory?
Know that if
It's not mandatory if you can. So the only reason why I say that you do it is because section 429, if it happens, sometimes the police don't know that. So you have to make sure that they understand it's section 429. And I can talk about the difference between the two. But since we're talking about evidence right now and writing a report, this is how you write the report. And when you give it to the police, it has been made mandatory under 140, it's CRPC 154 that the police have to give you a DDR number, which is a diary number. That is by law compulsory. Even if you file it online, you immediately get a diary number. That diary number is very important because it has to be registered that the police have got this complaint. And everything starts from there.
So it's from the diary record, it moves into an FIR. Is that a discretion that the police can apply whether it can become an FIR or it has to become an FIR?
So important point. We were just talking about it. So there are two types of offenses in India, criminal offenses. You have to understand that there are, actually, let me take a step back. There are two types of offenses overall in India. One is a civil offense and one is a criminal offense. So your dog barking and your neighbors complaining, neighbors playing the loudspeakers too loud, you putting garbage outside your house, civil issues. So those are civil complaints. Hitting somebody, mobbing, threatening, rape, murder, all these are criminal offenses. And hitting an animal is a criminal offense. That's a big deal. So we need to understand that. Now, section 428 covers cruelty to animals. IPC 428 covers cruelty to animals, and it has section 11A through I. Most of the times, one of the sections is going to apply to any animal that is facing cruelty. If the puppies are being dislocated or the dogs are being dislocated, it comes under 2001 ABC guidelines, but it does come under section 428 11A that the dogs have been dislocated. If the dogs have been dislocated that have led to an animal's death, or if somebody has hit a dog that has led to an animal's death, section 429 IPC applies. 429 is a cognizable offense. What that means is the police have to do an FIR, that's compulsory. They have to arrest, somebody has to get arrested, the defendant has to get arrested, that's compulsory. They can post bail and they can get out, that's a different thing. And please realize the arrest is not such a big deal. It doesn't happen like it happens in Hindi movies where they're taking them on a jeep and they're ashamed of everybody and the whole mohalla is watching. That doesn't happen. You go to the police station, they give you a paper that says you've been arrested, you sign on that paper, you post bail, and you're off. So you're usually out within a couple of hours or 2 hours. Police cannot detain you unless they put you in remand. And they'll only detain you even in murder cases if you are at risk of flight or you will be tampering with the evidence. So in an animal case, that rarely happens that somebody will be held. So people say, well, arrest hua, chhoot gaya. Of course, that's the law. Even if you rape somebody, it's the same thing. As long as you're not under risk of flight, they will release you. A judge will grant bail. So it's not as dramatic as people want to believe like it happens in the movies. But it is important that DDR is done. The FIR for cognizable offenses is compulsory. That's why if an animal has been killed, you want to put on your report that section 429 applies. Sometimes the police will try to not do the FIR, but you need to push them saying, dude, it's cognizable, it is compulsory. You have to do the FIR. So we need to realize that. If it's a non-cognizable offense, that section 428 applies, then an FIR is not necessary. Also, it is not necessary for you to go to the police. You can take that directly to the Sub Divisional Magistrates office. And you can file a complaint at the SDM saying this. So mostly people come and say, police is ki side le rahi hai, ye hai, wo hai. You don't have to deal with all that. Go to the SDM's office, file a complaint saying, this is what has happened, as long as you know the defendant's name. Sometimes what happens is you don't know the defendant's name. When that happens, it's the police's job to find out where the person lives. But most of the cases where animals are hit, I would say about 90% of the cases, we know who the offender is. It's happened in front of us. We know where they live. But the evidence has to be attached to the SDM as well. Again, eyewitness account, sworn statement, or a video. You give it to the SDM. The SDM will direct the FIR, the police to do the FIR. You will not have to get involved.
Sure. There are questions on what constitutes an offense. We'll come to that a little later. I mean, you've already given enough examples. But if there's anything left out, I'll pick up from the questions. One of the general resistance that people have, right, already they have been intimidated by a mob. On top of that, in that uh, frame of mind, going to a police station, a fear of intimidation, whether right or wrong. So, I'm going into a police station. I don't know which side the police is going to take initially. So, how does one get over that fear of getting work done from the police?
That is very important. So we'll talk about what happens after the FIR is done. Also, why the police is reluctant to do the FIR. So first of all, we need to realize that the police is not against you. We all believe that the police don't like animals or they're against you. They'll give you some examples of some officers in Mumbai who love animals. The police don't pick a side. The number one task of the police, in fact, the only task, if not the number one task, is to maintain law and order. If you are fighting with a mob of 50 people, their first job is to make sure this doesn't break into a fight. So they will come and they will always be with the mob because that is the only way to calm the mob down. You have to understand that. Now, when a policeman comes to your house and he knocks on your door, you are under no obligation to open the door. You don't have to talk to the police, and you can.
Lost you in the can't hear you.
You can't hear? Okay, I'm sorry. I got a call in the meanwhile.
No
So what I'm saying is, when they knock on your door, you don't have to answer the door. Or what you can tell them is, if there's a mob standing outside, just tell them, tell me where to come and I'll come there. I'm not going to talk to you standing outside, because standing outside, you'll only create a scene. Then they'll tell you, come to the police station on this day. If it suits you, tell him I'll come. If it doesn't suit you, tell him, I'm sorry, I'm busy tomorrow. I'll come day after, or I'll come at 5 o'clock. Don't let them push you around. Right? Now, what happens is you make it a little inconvenient for them. Then the other party, the mob, they will show up at the police station. You'll show up at the police station. But what you can guarantee there is a fight will not break out, because you're in the confines of the police and you're under watch of a CCTV camera. So nobody is going to hit anybody. It can be a heated argument. The police still might take the side of the mob because, again, they're trying to calm a situation down. Let them do it. The police telling you one thing or the other doesn't matter. Listen to it, whatever they have to say. You're the one who's given a complaint. Don't take your complaint back. Nobody can force you to take the complaint back. Just tell the police, this is what I saw, this is what has happened. A law has been broken. File a complaint. Right? If the other party is saying, oh, these dogs bite so many. Well, if they bite other people, if they've bitten 20 dogs, 20 humans, call municipal corporation. You have to realize that the police has no jurisdiction over these dogs. None at all. All the stray dogs in India are owned by the municipal corporation. If they're in a rural area, they're owned by the EO, by the municipal council or the block development officer. The municipality owns these dogs. Subsequently, they're the only ones who have the power of picking them up. Nobody has the power of picking them up. All they can do is get them sterilized, release them back. That's the only thing MC can do. And every MC understands that. Now the police... So the police have no jurisdiction over animals. They are just trying to calm a situation down. So what you tell them is, if a dog has bitten, if the dog is harming, barking, whatever, call MC. And you can educate the police that the only thing you can do is call MC. Nothing else can be done. Now, if on the other hand, the police will try and tell you ki aap feed karte ho, they'll try to intimidate you, let them say whatever they have to say. All they're trying to do is let that mob go away. So the mob will feel happy going back that they have achieved something. But at the end of the day, there is nothing that you need to agree to. You're in the right. You have witnessed a crime. If somebody else has hit a dog, for whatever else happens. So this is the legal aspect of it. Now the police don't want to file an FIR. And there's a reason for it. Like I said, they don't hate you. Police in India are rated on how safe their neighborhood is based on the number of FIRs that are done. So if they want to show that there is no crime happening in the neighborhood, they have to show that the FIRs are low. So they will do everything in their power to dissuade you from filing an FIR. You filed a complaint, but they'll try and do this Razinama. And the best way they know how to do Razinama is They'll do a little bit of hava on you. They'll pressurize you a little bit. They'll pressurize the other people a little bit. To you, they'll say, "Hum aapke upar parcha kar denge, 287." They throw out these bullshit numbers. 287 is public disturbance, which happens if sometimes, if you're constructing something out of your house, aapne sand sadak ke upar rakh diya, and it's causing nuisance to other people, that's public nuisance. Or you're playing a loudspeaker. Feeding a dog or walking with dogs is not public nuisance. So you have done nothing, but they'll throw out these numbers, 1056 aapke upar kar denge ji, 287 kar denge. All that is a bullshit way of pressurizing you to take your complaint back. You have to have the ability of saying, "Aap kar do." If a police does 287 on you, they will have to go to court and prove that you did something. So they will never do it. Plus, police will have to file an FIR on you anyway. So what difference does it make? They're trying to prevent one FIR and now they have to do another one. But what they'll do is they'll try and pressurize you by saying this. Similarly, the animal lovers, they'll try and calm them down by saying, "Hum ji ye make sure karenge ki ye feed na kare. Aap out of court settle kar lo." They'll make you both sit down. They'll make you write something. They will not give you a copy or the other person a copy of it.
Okay.
So that is the police's game. You have to understand that game. But if you are in the right, this is just a tactic by the police to not do their job. But we have tactics to make them do their job. That's what we'll talk about. So yeah, go ahead.
Lovely. And going into the root cause of why this entire thing happens as well, right? In terms of one is people saying it's biting us. They'll say that, you're just creating nuisance by feeding it. It poops all over the place, whatever the reason is, right? And it broadly maybe comes under the human-animal conflict. And that's where sterilization or vaccination come into picture. How does one enable that? Is it again reaching out to a municipal corporation, calling them to an area, and it's their responsibility to do all of that? Or do we need to take them to a government institution and do it? Or are there NGOs that enable this? How does it really happen?
Okay, so you're bringing up an important point, but I have a little bit to talk about on the FIR process. So let me talk about that first, and I'm sorry I'm laying all the information on the viewers, but it is important. So once you do a DDR and the police show reluctance in doing an FIR, there are ways to push the police. If it's a cognizable offense, like I said, even if the dog has been picked up, dislocated somewhere, you file a complaint saying this dog has been killed by this person. Or we are afraid that, say for instance, the puppies have died without the mother. So then there is 9 counts of section 429. If you kill 3 people, you're tried 3 times in court. If you kill 3 puppies, there are 3 counts of section 429 that apply. Right? So you tell them that we fear that the puppies have died. It's section 429. You have to do an FIR. If the police fail to do an FIR for a cognizable offense, you have to have the ability of going and telling them, dude, it's a cognizable offense. You have to file an FIR. Otherwise, I'm going to your SP. Right? You don't fear going to the superintendent of police. Now, these people are IAS officers. They don't play around. They don't take any sides. They will understand you better. You'll speak to them calmly. You'll tell them this is what's happened. The puppies died. It's a cognizable offense. Police is not doing an FIR. He will direct his SHO to do the FIR. If he does not, you can go to the SDM. The same can happen under section 153. When you go, if it's a non-cognizable offense, if a dog has just been hit or you've been harassed or anything and the police is not doing their job, you have the ability, like I said, go and complain to the Sub Divisional Magistrate. Sub Divisional Magistrates are usually PCS officers or civil services officers, sometimes even IAS officers. They will listen to you much better. But don't create any drama there. Don't take 30 people there who start yelling. 1, 2, 3 people at most. Go and put your point across. Have your evidence ready. Present it to them. Just say the police is not doing their job. Here is a copy of my complaint. Please direct under section 153B. They will have to, of the CRPC, they have to direct them to do a FIR. Once the FIR is done, your job is not over. FIR is the beginning. From an FIR, the police will do a charge sheet. They will investigate the matter. They will take everybody's statements, including your and the person who's willing to testify. Don't be afraid of it. You are the complainant. So I get a lot of these cases where people say, I have to go to Canada or I have to go overseas. I'm going to go to college. I don't want any problems. You are not the defendant. You are the complainant. You can never be in problem. At most, you'll have to go and testify one time in court, telling them this is what you saw. The defendant will have to be in court every single day, every single time. Even if you lose the case, you will cause so much trouble for him or her. So don't be afraid. You are in the right. The law is on your side. Most of us complain that the fine is only 50 rupees. It's not about the fine. It's the fact that they get a criminal record. Now, what happens when they get a criminal record? Anytime they need police verification, they will fail. If they have to apply for a passport, they will not get it. If they have to apply for a visa, will not get it. Government job, will not get. Anything that requires police verification, they will be a criminal for the rest of their life. Also, you have to...
IPL contracts in that?
Sorry?
IPL contracts?
Yeah, that too. So, and the most important thing is, once that precedence is set, like the Moga case, all we were able to get was 5 days for the conviction for the defendants in jail. But what happens is they have a record of being animal abusers. Next time any animal they abuse, it's 90 days in jail to 6 months in jail without question. The judge won't even question. So these people will never harm an animal again, I can guarantee you. And that is the only way. So first offense, section 428 might be 50 rupees, but second offense is 3 months in jail or 6 months in jail, depending upon the crime. So the judges, we need to have that precedence. Also, once those cases are prosecuted and are in the newspaper, that will scare other people. You have to be able to show success. What most NGOs will do is they'll do an FIR and they'll put a copy of the FIR or just they'll say we got the FIR done and they'll put it in the newspaper. Nothing has happened. With the FIR, nothing has happened. After the FIR, they need to do a charge sheet, and police for offenses in the lower court have 60 days. In the circuit court have 60 days, lower court have 90 days. So after arrest, they have a period of 90 days within which they're supposed to file the charge sheet. Even that they'll start delaying. But now it doesn't matter to them because parcha ho gaya hai, then the police record mein wo aa gaya hai, then they have to do the next thing. And their statistics are messed up already. Then they will pass it on to the DA legal or the SDM, however your structure is in your state. There you will get the public prosecutor, so you won't have to pay a single rupee from your pocket. It is going to be the state versus the defendant. So you will be the state. You will be fighting for the state of Punjab or Kerala or wherever you are. It's going to be state versus that person. So you will get a public prosecutor. He will have to pay for an attorney from his pocket. So the 50 rupee fine.
Come to that. You don't have to spend on legal fees. Sorry to interrupt you. So we don't need to spend on a lawyer or legal fees. That's important. Right?
And what you'll also find is you'll find a lot of lawyers. If you don't get in touch with me, I'll get in touch with you. I'll put you in touch with a lot of lawyers who'll fight the animal's case for free. So when you have a public prosecutor, you can have your own lawyer. You have an option because some of these public prosecutors are horrible. But to get your own lawyer, you can say, I want my own lawyer in this one. There are enough people who are willing to fight Mr. Bilimoria for this Kerala case. He's fighting this case for free for Peter. And he's one of the biggest, Percival Bilimoria, I think that's what his name is. He's one of the most expensive lawyers in the country. But they will fight your case for animals for free. Lots of lawyers will. So don't worry about that. Just be persistent. And that's when you start using your animal welfare officers as well. So get in touch with me, get in touch with your animal welfare officer of the AWBI, or any NGO person there are several NGOs who claim to be fighting against cruelty. Get in touch with them and say, okay, now I want you to step up and help me get the FIR, help me get the charge sheet. Then if the police is not doing an FIR, another good way of getting it done is getting in touch with Mrs. Gandhi. She does help, but you have to have a solid case. You have to have the complaint done. You have to have the evidence. You have to be willing to step up and tell her that you'll be going to court. Are you ready to go to court with this guy or with the AWBI person? She will call the police. She will make sure that the FIR gets done. She will try her best. But you have to make it easy for her. You have to realize that she gets about 40, 50 calls a day, hundreds of cases by email in a day. She doesn't remember more than a day about your case. So you have to be persistent with her, remind her, make sure she calls the police. She usually does it right away. Once the complaint is in front of her, you have to tell her who the SHO in charge is. This is the phone number. Make it easy for her. Just have her pick up the phone, dial the number, call this SHO, and she has a good network behind her. So don't be afraid when you're in the right. You have people who are willing to fight with you. You don't need a bheed. You just need 2 or 3 people. You just need to follow the procedure, and the law is on your side. Even the 50 rupees, Mr. Billamoria, and they're trying to table a bill in Parliament in the winter session, and hopefully the fines will increase. They've been trying to do it for several years, I guess now, but seriously for the last 2 or 3 years. So hopefully that gets done. But it's the criminal. It's having a criminal record, and having that record which scares the bejesus out of everybody. I can't tell you how many cases, including this Moga case. The Gurdwara was trying to save these granthis. There's one that happened here in Chandigarh where the person filed a complaint against the complainant, and the SDM actually heard his complaint, and then we reversed it around, and he got 2 days in jail. And all he had done was hit a dog with a stone, with a brick, actually. So he got 2 days in jail. And when he stood in front of the judge with all the evidence, with the video evidence, he started begging for mercy. They always plead for leniency. Please be lenient with me. The case in Moga, the judge is a woman. She told the defendants that you were not lenient with the puppy. You killed him with your sword. Why should I be lenient with you? I think she still was lenient and gave them only 5 days. But you're in the right. You are in the right. The law is on your side. Learn how to use it. Okay, and now to your question. I'm so sorry about the.
That's really, really important. Thank you for all the insights. I'm sure people have tuned in now and who are going to watch this later are going to feel really, really good and assured about this. Now on the ABC, the
Yes.
birth control itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there'll be one other thing that we'll talk about, which is going to be Razinama. I'll talk about it after I answer this question. So yes, ABC is certainly one of the most important things. We're lucky in several ways that dogs can be sterilized. Cows are not as lucky. We have an overpopulation of cows in the country. Sterilizing a cow is next to impossible. Sterilizing a dog is easy. The AWBI has directed, and the Government of India has directed every district to have an SPCA and an ABC program. Now they don't have it, all of them don't. It is the animal welfare officer's job to make sure that gets started. I've been trying to do it in the area that I live in. We get all kinds of excuses from MC saying they don't have the funds, they don't have the structure, this, that, and the other thing. But it is certainly the most important thing, is the best way of reducing human-animal conflict. If you don't have an ABC program, if you're an animal activist, what I would recommend is get together, go to the police, go to the municipal corporation, ask them why they haven't started it, ask your local body government. So in every state, the municipal corporation comes under the local body government, and they have a minister. So the municipal councillor or the commissioner is also an IAS officer or a PCS officer that's been elevated to that level. So they are not elected members. So you've got to realize that the body exists in such a way that it is the municipal commission or the municipal council or the municipal commission and the mayor. The mayor is an elected body, and they have municipal councillors under them. The councillors have nothing to do with MC. They're completely different bodies. The councillors are elected bodies. So they're the ones who go around asking you for votes in your neighborhood. They report to the mayor and the municipal commissioner. They work hand in hand. So either the municipal commissioner should start the ABC program. It is their job. If they're not doing it, you can take Can you guys hear me? Okay. You can take a bunch of citizens and go to the mayor, and you'll have animal haters who'll want to do this with you as well, because everybody wants animal birth control, and push them to do their job. Now, above the municipal commission is the local body government. Now, the local body government is actually an elected member. So there, every time you have elections in your state, there is a minister for local body government, and there is a chairman. The chairman is again selected. He's an IAS officer, but the minister who's over and above all is from your local, whoever's won the election. So you should, and they're usually not a very high paying post or a high visibility post. So you will be able to get in touch with this minister. You'll be able to go and visit them. You can tell him the plight of the citizens and the dogs and get ABC started. AWBI does offer some funding as well and some infrastructural support, but it has to be done at the MC level. But that's one way you use your MC officers, your AWBI officers, to help you go to the MC and start getting their work done. So that's what you do when it comes to sterilizations. Otherwise, you can get it done privately for sure. There are several NGOs who will do this. They get it done low cost. Most vets will give you very good deals when it comes to sterilizing animals. Please use them. It is extremely important to keep the population of dogs down and keep the conflict low.
Super. And even the vaccination program.
Just give me a second. I think I have somebody at the door. Can you give me a second?
No problem. No problem. So for those of you who joined just now, just a quick recap. So we are having the discussion with Inder Sandhu, who is a member of the Animal Welfare Board of India, on what to do with around the entire topic of cruelty to animals. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, vaccinations. You were talking about vaccinations. I'm so sorry. Hanji, wo fridge mein. Let me just give it to her. It's my maid. Hold on.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, and people are sending in some questions. I will relay it, and hopefully we should also open it out. Maybe I'll take a few video requests as well, and you could ask those questions. Also giving a quick moderation check that we will cover the feeder aspect very, very minimally.
All right. I'm sorry about that. So when it comes to vaccinations, what happens with vaccinations is the puppies, of course, they need their 6-in-1 shots to protect them from parvovirus distemper. It is best to get them the shots. They need a series of 3 shots when they're puppies, 21 days apart. That protects them from parvovirus distemper even when they're older. They will not get distemper even when they go to... Now, parvo is a puppy-only disease. Distemper they can get when they're older as well, especially when they go to the ABC unit. So it's easier to protect them. That the government does not provide, has to be done privately. The rabies shot, pets need a shot every year, but stray dogs need just 1 shot in their entire lifetime because their titer stays high because the exposure to rabies is high. So statistics have proven that 1 shot given to them as a puppy will last them for the rest of their life and prevent rabies. So please vaccinate your puppies. You can only vaccinate a pup when they're 14 weeks old. So when they're 14 weeks old, they're easiest to catch. Please vaccinate them then rather than wait for them to be a year old and they're impossible to catch at that time. Also, get them sterilized as quickly as you can. The younger they are, you can get them done at 6 months. The younger they are, they're easier to catch. The same, if there were 6 pups, you'll probably get 5 when they're 6 months old. You'll probably only get 1 if they're a year old. They start running away, they're all over the place. And they get aggressive sometimes. So they're difficult to catch, I shouldn't say aggressive. So yes, sterilization, vaccination is important. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about is the Razinama that police does. The way, like I said, police are trying to get you not to do an FIR because it shows poorly on their record. When they do a Razinama, don't just sign anything. You have the right, see, you are the complainant. As long as you don't take your complaint back, the police are at tenterhooks. They need you. आपके ऊपर हवा कर रहे हैं वो just to pressurize you. But ultimately, they are, if you keep on showing resistance, नहीं मैंने नहीं sign करना, then they'll start begging and pleading. Then they'll say, कर लो जी, क्या फर्क है, एक ही मोहल्ले में रहना है, भाई बहन, वो सब change हो जाता है उनका. So they will try and do everything. Now, when you sign, if you agree to sign a Razinama, you have to get the other person to admit that they did hit the dog. So say that yes, on this particular day, this dog was hit by this person, but they will not do it in the future, and we will and then you keep a copy of it, because next time they do, now you have a written record that they've done it in the past. That becomes evidence to present in court that it has been done before. What the police will do is they'll do a very half, mixture of report saying ये लड़ाई हो गई थी अब सुलह हो गई है. That means nothing, right?
Okay.
They will concentrate on the sulah. You will have to concentrate on the fact that I will only do this if the other person admits to his fault in writing. If he doesn't, well, go ahead and do a complaint. I have no problem. You're on the right, do an FIR. Then they'll get the other person to admit. And once the other person gives it in writing, he will never hit another dog again. Right?
Wow. And basically, this is an out of court, out of judicial system settlement. It's a mutual settlement outside the realm of the FIR world.
And anybody, I have to add this, then, so I always get my razinamas done on stamp paper. Stamp paper scares the shit out of the defendants, right? And it is easily admissible in court. Anybody wants a copy of anything that I'm saying, I'll be more than happy to share a copy of any razinama that I've done. Of course, I'll take the names out because I don't want, I'll redact some information. I have some redacted razinamas that I've done on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can take a look at that. But always get it in writing. In writing scares people. If otherwise they get the feeling that they've gotten away with it, वो माफी मुफी मांग लेगा. माफी मांगने का मतलब होता है देख तेरे को बेवकूफ बना दिया. So माफी मांगेगा 2 minute बाद, then he'll say, okay, all I had to do was say sorry, and the other guy is an idiot कि वो मान गया. अगली बार फिर देखेंगे, right? That's also what happens sometimes if you're not prepared and you haven't given Menka Gandhi all the information that she needs. Sometimes she'll just ask the police to go and do some hawa. So police वाला जाके उसको 2-4 गालियां निकाल के आ जाएगा, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, because there's going to be no record in writing. Next time it happens, even Menka Gandhi won't remember that this has happened in the past. But anytime you agree to anything, please get it in writing. And like I said, if you have any more questions, any templates that you want, anything that, how to approach who and where, if you want any details of the section 153B, 154, 428, 429, any cases that we've done in the past, I'll be more than happy to share information with you so you can do it where you are locally, even without any AWBI officer.
Super. So just to summarize what we have discussed so far, for the benefit of people who have also joined in recently, is that when you're on the right, take the full course of the law. Don't be intimidated by a law enforcement agency, including police. You are on the right. Use the right section. Use the help of the welfare officer or the NGO as required. Don't buckle down under pressure. If anything that you want to agree out of court equivalent settlement, make it in writing. So that's pretty much.
Yes, and just one more thing I'll say, don't. So a lot of animal lovers, what they do is they'll say, मेरी side कोई नहीं है, police ने बुलाया है, तुम please सब इकट्ठे होके जाओ. Wherever you have a bheed, you'll only get into an argument. Be it animal lovers. When you get an animal, so what usually happens, it starts with fighting. So normally when you're feeding a dog, and I'm sure people have questions about this as well, when you're feeding a dog, they'll come and stop you, you get into an argument that, now if you're in an argument mode and there are 10 people on that side and you call 10 of your friends, then I can almost guarantee you that somebody is going to hit somebody. And when somebody hits somebody, it becomes an assault case. Then it doesn't remain an animal case at all. It doesn't matter why you assaulted somebody. If you assault somebody, this is 2 years in jail. It becomes a very serious offense. So ये जो भीड़ इकट्ठे करने की आदत है कि हमारे को भीड़ में जाके आर्ग्यू करना, या पुलिस स्टेशन भी जाओ 50 बंदे चाहिए, भीड़ doesn't win. What wins is paperwork. What does your paperwork say? You are in the right, you will win every time. I can't tell you how many times I've been called to the police station where the police वाला are doing hawa on me. या आप क्या करते हो ये वो, and I'll say ठीक है, आपने जो पर्चा करना है मेरे ऊपर कर दो आप. Because if the police file a false parcha off to it, know that you're not going to stop at shit. The more confident you are, the more scared the police is. The more scared, police will sniff scared. वो सूंघ लेते हैं कब आपको डर लग रहा है. जैसे ही आप डर दिखाओगे, they'll overpower you. You'll show them confidence, they'll be scared of you. or at least they'll know that you know your shit.
Right.
So भीड़ कभी मत लेके जाओ, confidence लेके जाओ. And kabhi bahar bhi, when people are fighting, don't get into a fight. If it becomes a physical fight, it will take a completely different perspective. There's one very important thing that I'll have to add. If 10 people come to your house, if actually more than 6 people come to your house, it is section 506 mobbing. Right? Don't open your door, have your CCTV camera or camera record that there are more than 10 people, dial 100, say that they're mobbing you. Right? If you stand outside and start yelling at them, they will make your video too. Then they'll say, ये तो बाहर आ गए जी, गर्मा गर्मी में बंदे इकट्ठे हो गए, हम क्या करें? लेकिन अगर वो आपके घर आए हैं, taking more than 6 people, it's a clear case of mobbing. If somebody intimidates you by saying, I will kill your dog, it is not a criminal offense. I will, आपका बर्तन उठा के फेंक दिया, not a criminal offense. Once you put a मिट्टी का बर्तन or any बर्तन on the road, it's not yours anymore. If you made a house for your dog in the park, that is not your anymore. This is a public place you've made a house in. Just like you had the authority to make a house, somebody else has the authority to break it. If I leave my wallet outside and I come inside, that's not my wallet anymore. Whoever picks it, it's his. Similarly, if you want to feed a dog, but take the burtan back with you. If you leave it outside, anybody has the right of taking it and breaking it. As a matter of fact, once the dog is confident that that is his bowl, somebody wants to put poison, they'll put poison in that bowl. The dog will be familiar with that bowl, he's going to come and drink it. So please don't leave feeding bowls outside. Take your feeding bowls back, right? But bahar khade hoke, so if it's a feeding thing, somebody stops you, you get into an argument, you hit somebody or somebody hits you. If somebody hits you, record it. Then they're the defender, it becomes a case of assault. If you hit somebody, then they will turn it around on you. So it's best not to argue, come back home, either start recording or just come back home and go inside your house. सड़क पे खड़े होके कभी नहीं लड़ना. It is going to get worse. I can guarantee you that. If you call your friends, they'll start coming and getting into fights. Then it doesn't remain an animal case anymore.
Very, very interesting and very important, because we get carried away and we do these things that you exactly advised against in this. Super. Excellent. I think you have kind of answered also questions around residents welfare associations being cruel to animals. How does a feeder take care of their rights when it comes to feeding? So you have pretty much covered it, even without me relaying it exactly to you, because you sensed what was coming your way.
RWAs,
any other question?
But we can talk about RWAs. RWAs is an important aspect. If somebody has questions about RWAs, I'll be more than happy to answer it. Otherwise, it gets too long. But there are RWAs who team up and...
Read out the question then.
Sorry?
Yeah, I'll read out the question. You can take it to the level you would want to. So how about complaining about RWA or large number of people mobbing a feeder because may or may not know names or numbers?
Okay.
So yeah.
It's good that you're speaking about the RWA. It's very important. There's lots of societies that are coming up. They have RWAs. RWAs are very interesting. RWAs are registered bodies. They need to register an RWA with this SDM. If the RWA is registered, only then can they act in any way as as a governing body. If they're not registered and they're acting like a government body, then they're illegal. Then you can just go to the SDM and say, so the first thing you have to find out is your RWA registered? There are two ways of doing it. You can just go to them in a friendly way and ask them, are you registered? They'll say yes or no. If they say yes, ask them for a registration number. Otherwise, if there's any notice that they've put up on their letterhead, on the side it'll say registration number, whatever. If they are registered, it becomes even simpler, because then they cannot violate any laws of the land. And hitting animals or driving them out are violations. All you need to do is record, go to and whatever they're saying on their WhatsApp chat groups, go to the SDM and tell them, look here, they're driving out dogs and they're registered, so please cancel their registration. So what we have to do is...
So even if they have a chat of, let's say, let's poison these dogs, etc.
So I was alluding to it and I didn't finish it last time. Threatening is, so I was talking about 506, which is mobbing. There is another, this thing, section 508, which is criminal intimidation. So if I were to say to you that I'm going to hit you, or I'm going to kill you, I'm going to break your leg, that is criminal intimidation. So when you file to the police that this person has told me, either on recording or as an eyewitness, you say, he said कि मैं आपकी टांग तोड़ दूंगा. The police have to act on that, because if they don't, and tomorrow he comes and actually breaks your leg, you'll go back to the police and say, I complained to you, you didn't do anything. So that they have to intervene. 508, that is criminal intimidation, when somebody threatens you with violence. Or now if they make general statements कि मैं आपको देख लूंगा, that means nothing, right? And that's why some people are very clever, so they'll not really say मैं आपको मार दूंगा, but just in case they do, now they'll say मैं आपके कुत्ते को मार दूंगा, right? मैं stray dog को मार दूंगा. They're not violating any law. There's no criminal intimidation against animals. If they say मैं आपका जीना मुश्किल कर दूंगा, या dog का जीना मुश्किल कर दूंगा, घर के बाहर फेंक दूंगा, none of that is breaking a law. That shows intent. You should still record it, because tomorrow if the dog goes missing, you'll be able to use those texts, you'll be able to use those the statements. But it is not.
Sure.
But when you're talking to somebody, if somebody tells you कि अगर आप कल से यहाँ आए मैं आपकी टांग तोड़ दूंगा, सिर्फ record करो आप. Go to the police, 6 months in jail for criminal intimidation. Don't take your case back. वो आपसे माफिया मांगेगा. He will keep on begging you to let him go. Again, Razinama will be in written. He will never cross your path again. So know the law. Make the law act for you. Make it play for you. In India, it's a cumbersome system. It's a cumbersome legal system. So even this Moga case, we won after 18 months. So justice is slow. I completely agree to that. That's because our population is high, the courts are overburdened, but also just because people are so afraid, because you're so afraid of going to court, use that because the defendant is equally afraid and he's in the wrong, right? So use that. Use the fact that threat of going to court or बार-बार court में जाके दिन लगाने पड़ेंगे, महीने लगाने पड़ेंगे, use that to your advantage.
Right. A question from my own experiences is, there are some apartments that ban entry of pets, or you can't keep a pet. Is that even allowed?
No, that is not. So, interesting question. We were talking about RWAs, and one of the things that the RWAs, when they're registered, they can make laws, but their laws cannot be more stringent than the nation's laws, right? If they say that you can't hit an animal, 428 is you can't hit an animal. The RWA can't just make the rule on their own saying you can hit an animal, right? They can't make any laws which are, in fact, a part of their registration is that they have to write, they basically sign an affidavit saying they will make sure that all the laws of the land are followed, right?
Sure.
So equal housing laws in India state that you cannot discriminate on any dog or any house owner based on if they have a dog or not. You cannot make laws that a dog is not allowed to enter a lift. Cannot do that. You can't say that they can't walk on a garden. What you can say is, if he poops, you don't pick up the poop, there's a 100 rupee fine or 50 or whatever. Yeah. That they're within their rights. That's private property. They can say that. But they can't say you will not get a house, or they can't kick you out because you have so that comes under a completely different aspect. It's equal housing laws of India. And justice it's a civil system. Justice there is much quicker. So what you have to do is, if the RWA is making rules willy-nilly, ask them to put that rule not in a WhatsApp group but on their letterhead. Ask them to send them a letter which says, "Aap ji inko elevator mein nahi leke ja sakte." They can say that between 7 to 5, that comes under good neighborhood laws. Right, they can say that, look here, when kids are going to school from 7 to 9, please use the stairs. That's a request.
Sure.
That's not a law. And you as an animal, a pet owner, should actually help doing that, because sometimes a child is scared. So, it's good governance that says, okay, maybe we should do that. And when your dog poops, you should pick it up. Right, that's just good neighborhood. But they cannot discriminate. RWAs are really easy to control. right? And what usually most of these people do is they'll go through the guards, and we can talk about guards. It's a complete, we can have a different sessions on when what animal lovers do is, or animal haters do is, they'll use the guards to commit their crime. And usually the guards make stupid mistakes and they get caught, and the animal lovers go scot-free. There are several cases we've done in Chandigarh where we've separated the guards, which are usually a security company, from the RWA, and separate the RWA from the residents. So we've got the RWA issuing notices like, it is not the guard's duty to protect you against a dog, which is true. A guard has no training how to protect you against an animal. They don't even get him vaccinated against rabies. They don't give him safety equipment. They don't give him boots. He has no authority to protect you, and he has no duty to protect you. But that has to be done with the RWA. So anybody is having a hard time dealing with their RWA, please get in touch with me. RWAs are easy to get, easy to basically जैसे सीधा करना बोलते हैं ना, तो आप RWAs को आसानी से सीधा कर सकते हैं. Guards hitting your dogs, all we need in every instance is proof. You get proof, these guys will be straight. You get them to write something on the, जब आप उनसे सिर्फ यही बोलते हैं RWA से, that whatever you're saying to me, they'll call you up and say, आप dog को feed मत करो, या आपको ये कर देंगे, आपको निकाल देंगे, जो मर्जी. Just tell them, जो भी आप मुझे बोल रहे हो, letterhead पे लिख के दे दो. You won't get, right. That'll be the last time they'll talk to you. All right, please go ahead.
Nice. I'm done with my questions. Is there anyone who wants to ask any quick question right now? I can take a video request if you want to, or you can type it in. Or in that time, if you have anything else to add to our discussion, please feel free.
I can talk about so many things. I can talk about other animals. There are so many animals that are facing cruelty that's beyond dogs. I always say, please stand up for every animal. One of the worst affected are horses. Nobody looks at them. 99% of them are overloaded. They're overworked. They're made to work in excruciating conditions. A horse has very shallow lungs. They're not meant to travel long distances carrying loads, nor are donkeys. They're made for running short distances at high speed, and that's what their anatomy is for. They have no way to guard themselves, so a horse can only see from the side of their face, right? Because their eyes are on the side, so they can only see both sides. They can't see in front of them. So when you put blinders on a horse, when he's walking on a street carrying load, he's actually blind. So imagine the amount of fear that they have when they're listening to all these strange sounds and horns and honks and all that, and they can't see a thing. They're usually made to work more than 8-9 hours a day. The law is 4 hours maximum. After getting a 1 hour break, they can work another 4 hours. They're not supposed to work in the summer when the heat is 37 degrees. They're not supposed to work from the hours 12 to 3. They're not supposed to carry more than 750 kgs, which includes the weight of the human and the cart. So in effect, they can't carry more than 550 kgs. 99% of the people, the horse carts we stop, are overloaded. 99% of them work. I've seen even when the horse carts the horses are not carrying anything, between the hours of 12 to 3, they can't even be tied to a horse cart. They're supposed to relax in the summer. But I've seen the horse cart owners sleeping on the cart, but the horse still tied to it. So the level of cruelty that horses face is just astronomical. The vets in the country are horrible. They don't know as much about large animals as they do about small animals. So please stand up for every animal. Don't just stand up for dogs. Stand up for the cows, stand up for the horses. There are snakes that get killed all the time for no reason because people are just so afraid of snakes. There are monkeys who are still doing the monkey wala tamasha. There are parrots who get used for entertainment, which is against the law. There are pangolins that get killed because of their scales. The level of cruelty, actually dogs don't have it the worst. Dogs actually have it, I won't say the best, but they are well protected by enough citizens and enough people are feeding them. The other animals are in much, much, much worse condition. Rabbits are bred incessantly for their fur. I mean, I can go on and on. So, yeah, anybody has any questions, let's talk about that.
I haven't got any further questions in this. So on that note, thank
So
you
either nobody
very,
was
very
listening,
much for your time.
or I explained it well, or nobody was listening. Either of the two.
You really explained it well. As also an audience member, I can tell you it's been a fascinating conversation. Very, very enlightening, very empowering and assuring. Thank you so much for that.
Not a problem.
Thank you to Blackie's BNB and Kelly in particular for initiating this conversation. Thanks to PDO's people, and of course, Inder, thank you so much for your time. Everyone who's joined in and are going to watch it later, thanks for your time.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so
Thank
much.
you.